Hi, it's Clemmy from the NARM Clinic, and this week I want to talk to you about why how we eat is as important as what we eat. So perhaps you're someone who's a really fast eater, perhaps you're always first to finish your plate, or you eat so fast that it barely touches the sides, or perhaps you're a multitasker, so you're often eating meals whilst doing other things like working or writing emails or watching TV, or perhaps checking social media or the news. Also, perhaps when you've eaten, you feel very bloated or uncomfortable. I'm going to talk to you about why the way we eat is really important to perhaps why you're getting these symptoms, but also most importantly, what you can do about it. So some really practical tips that you can take away with you from this video. So firstly, the process of digestion actually begins before food even enters our mouth. So the first phase of digestion is called the cephalic phase, and it's a really important time to signal to our body and digestive system that food is coming, so that it's ready to digest it, absorb it, and metabolize that food and those nutrients effectively. So this initial phase is when we're thinking about food, and it's also the part where it enters our mouth. And this phase really also seems to play a really important role in appetite and satiety. So that's our feeling of fullness. So when you are cooking and when you're smelling food and you get those delicious smells and you start salivating and maybe your tummy starts rumbling, that's what's happening in this phase. So that's your body preparing to get ready to receive food. So when we're actually eating, when food goes into our mouth, we're mechanically breaking it down by chewing it. But we also start to break it down chemically then by mixing it with enzymes that are in our saliva. And that chewing mechanism and our saliva also sends chemical messengers to alert our stomach and our liver that food is coming. So when we're not chewing our food properly, when we're distracted by other things or we're not chewing enough, it can really have an impact lower down on the rest of our digestive tract. So perhaps we might not produce enough enzymes needed to fully break down our food, and this can lead to other problems. So things like indigestion, heartburn, acid reflux, also cramps or tummy pain, bloating, gas, diarrhea, also nausea, so feeling sick, and perhaps leading to malnutrition as well if we can't get the nutrients we need from our food. And that kind of mindless eating as well can also really lead us to overeating, because we don't kind of register how much we're eating and when we're feeling full, and that can lead to weight gain as well. So effective digestion is really important, and particularly important in inflammatory bowel disease, where inflammation might be impacting some of the absorption sites in the small intestine. That's mainly in Crohn's disease, or when food is moving through much more quickly because of the inflammation, and that can happen in Crohn's and colitis. So we really want to give our intestines the best chance possible of accessing all the nutrients that we're giving it in the food that we're eating, and the mechanical breakdown and the chemical breakdown of the food really helps us to do that effectively. So next time you're eating your meal, think about the following tips, which can help to slow down and to help support that process of digestion. So number one is to be really present when you're preparing your food, and make sure you're, as much as you can, doing your own preparation of food. So take in the smells whilst it's cooking, so you get to trigger that cephalic phase of digestion. Number two is avoid distractions when you're eating. So remove screens, remove any tasks, and try not to eat while you're on the go. So try and sit down and be really present when you're eating. Number three is to eat when you're relaxed. So you can, if you're a bit stressed, then taking a few really deep breaths and just relaxing a bit can really help. So also sitting at a table and sitting in an upright position as well, so that your body's ready to receive that food. Number four, again, coming back to that breathing, is to take that like 3 really big deep belly breaths before each meal, just to tap into that kind of rest and digest mode to help give your body the best opportunity to digest the food. So number 5 is, whilst you're eating, really focus on the delicious smells, the different textures of the foods, the different taste sensations. Really focus on what you're eating and think about where it's come from, and think about all the different colours and things that you've got on your plate. And not only will that help digestion, but it'll also really help you enable you to really fully enjoy and appreciate the meal that you're eating. Number 6 is chew really thoroughly. So even more liquid meals, if you're having soups or smoothies, for example, then try and chew those. So we really need to work on that mechanical breakdown, as I said, but also that chewing and turning food in our mouths allows that saliva to mix well with the meal. And the saliva contains enzymes that breaks down carbohydrates and also starts to break down fats as well. So what we need to aim for is around 20 to 30 chews per mouthful. Now, obviously with soups and things, you don't need to do it that much. But what I always encourage my clients to do is to have one meal where they really focus on 20 to 30 chews. Then you get an idea of what it feels like when you chew that much, and what consistency the food is like. And then you can take that forward then to other meals. And the last final one, which is super helpful, I know lots of clients have found it helpful, and I do as well, is to physically put your knife and fork down between mouthfuls, and don't allow yourself to pick them back up again to load your next mouthful until you've thoroughly chewed and swallowed the previous one. So that's a really, really good practical tip to help you slow down the way that you're eating. So put your knife and fork down and don't pick it up again until you've thoroughly chewed and swallowed the previous mouthful. Anyway, I hope that's helpful, and we'll see you again soon.